Hey class, Tim Carey, hope all's well. It's been a while since I've posted, so while your finals are coming up, I wanted to post a couple more videos. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about public policy and finance. So public policies sometimes have a cost attached to them. Other public policies could create revenue streams, so you want to keep that in mind as you're doing your final projects. Let's just talk about a few. Just off the top of our heads, you have taxes on a variety of things that are revenue streams for whether it's the federal government through the income tax, state through income tax and through some sales tax, local through your local property taxes or city wage taxes. So you have all these different revenue streams to support programs, and most programs are coming from public policy that was being created to help create those programs. So while you're doing your projects, I want you to keep in mind that it's really important. Projects, your final papers. It's important to keep in mind that these revenue streams or these programs have a cost attached to them or bring in revenue. So for one, we always talk about taxes. So when we listen to politicians and we saw the conventions over the last few weeks, and we heard, for the most part, ideas that are being laid out by both candidates, and those ideas, whether they are supporting new programs, will have a cost attached to them. So you want to keep in mind, when you hear, oh, we're going to build a wall. It's the easiest one to keep in mind. I'm not throwing any negative comments towards the candidate who made that statement, but there's a cost attached to that. So if you're going to build this wall, it's going to cost you money to do so. And how are you going to fund building that wall? I know we've heard that Mexico is going to pay for it. I highly doubt that would occur, but the United States would pay for it. How are we going to pay for it? Is the question. Is it going to come through tax dollars that the federal government? Is it going to be a kind of it could be kind of a user fee, not to say so, attached to your passport. There could be an additional fee to get a passport through the United States government that can help pay for the wall. That's an extreme example, but I just wanted to throw that out there as something that they could say, okay, this is how I'm going to pay. That's one of the questions you always want to ask when you hear a politician who gives a candidate, I shouldn't say a politician, a candidate who's running and has all these grandiose ideas. Oh, everybody's going to go to college for free. That's a big one for the Democrats this year. Free state education. Well, how are we going to pay for that? It's going to come through taxes in some way, shape, or form. There's only so much you can keep increasing cigarette taxes to pay for everything. So it's going to come from, there's going to have to be funding for it. So where's that funding come from? I think what they're probably thinking is if we raise the minimum wage, that's going to increase the amount of tax dollars that are also being spent, and therefore we'll have money to do so. Interesting concept, something that we can keep in mind while we're looking at these elections. But again, keep in mind when candidates are proposing these things, they have to pay for them. And I had a discussion recently with a friend who was upset about the soda tax. I don't drink soda, so when it goes into effect, it really won't affect me at all. But one thing you want to keep in mind is during the election cycle, that politician did say expanding early childhood education. And the question that the voters should have been asking at that time, well, how are you going to pay for it? And at that point, the candidate is kind of put on the spot. Well, you have to, we're going to redistribute funds. We're going to cut back on our staffing at the local level in areas that we can afford to do so. And that money saved is going to be used to support this idea. Very rarely does that happen. It's usually going to be spent in some way, shape, or form. You got to keep in mind, too, that local governments and state governments have to have a balanced budget. The federal government, as you all hear constantly, we run, we have a deficit, and that comes through trade and things of that nature. So sometimes our budget doesn't meet. You also have to watch. So again, with the soda tax, let's keep this one in mind. All right, let's walk through this scenario a little bit, and this is something that kind of frustrates me with it. So they'll have a proposal that'll say we're going to fund our early childhood education for all students in the city of Philadelphia by implementing this soda tax. And based on the numbers that we have, this is how much money will be raised if soda is bought at the same level it's bought now. Is that going to be the case in the city of Philadelphia? I don't think so. I think that we're going to see a lot of people, because of that cost, who drink soda are going to pick up and drive to the surrounding suburbs while they're out. Just run into a ShopRite in Delaware County, Bucks County, Montgomery County, New Jersey, and pick up their soda there. Their sugary drinks, I'm sorry, I should say it the right way, sugary soft drinks. And therefore, you're going to see, their projections are going to be higher. So then they're going to say, okay, well, we didn't come up with enough money from that area, now let's go back and get more. That's a problem that really happens all the time. And I mean, I have one parent who's a smoker, and on occasion, because now cigarettes, I believe, are up to almost like $10 or $11 with another tax that's being levied on it, will go outside to buy their cigarettes, so they don't have to pay that additional fee. So you want to keep that in mind, that sometimes these projections are inaccurate based on what it's going to cost. Now let's look at the other side effects for things of this nature. And again, I'm not anti-soda tax at all. I'm neither for nor against, so please take it as such. But there are repercussions for it. I used to go to the local newsstand to buy a newspaper, cigarettes, and lottery tickets. Well, I'm no longer buying my cigarettes there. Do I even need to go? I can go, so that local business owner, that small business owner, may suffer because I'm now getting my newspaper, soft drink or cigarettes outside of the area, so I don't have to pay those taxes. Keep that in mind as well when we're talking about this. There's also things that create like bubbles, cash bubbles, that local governments will do, to balance their budget from one year to the next, or to support a program that they want to support, but it doesn't last long. So you sell off a piece of local land or property. We have like one time they were talking about selling the certain parts of the highway to a private organization to run. So they would get that cash bubble, but then they would lose in the long run the taxes that are, the money that is coming from those tolls. So there's something else you got to keep in mind when you're looking at it. So these giant cash bubbles that'll come in and say, oh my God, we did great this year with our budget. Well, part of that is you sold off parts of your land, you sold off that. You can't do that more than once. You're going to just continue selling everything off, and you can't do that because, you'll have people who are upset. I think in South Philly, one time when I was a kid, I said, oh, why doesn't Philadelphia just sell off FDR Park? My neighborhood. I forget my dad looking at me, he's like, Tim, that's our only place. That's our only open space. That's the only place where you can go, with families and have barbecues or go out and play and just run around. So if they do that, you're going to upset people. And I think back on it, and yeah, I'd be upset if the city's decided to privatize or sell part of our open space. So you want to keep that in mind as well. User fees. Now I get mad because sometimes the local governments will pay and help pay for certain things that, I'm a taxpayer. I don't use those things. So an easy one to keep in mind is a user fee for a city-run golf course. So if you want to go to FDR Park to play golf in the city of Philadelphia, there's a cost attached to it, maybe $60, $70, I don't know. But there's no need for all taxpayers to pay for that. Not all taxpayers play golf. So therefore, if you want to maintain a golf course in this area, you're going to have user fee for it. So that's something else you want to keep in mind. So as you're doing your projects, if something could be implemented, such as a user fee, to help support a program of yours, put it in there. I think that's important to keep in mind. So when you're doing these projects, when you're thinking about a public policy, always, if even how beautiful the politician may sound, keep in mind there's a cost to programs that they're going to implement. All right, and how are you going to pay for these programs? Could come from taxes. It could come from implementing other taxes on things. It could come from user fees. There's a wide variety of different ways they're going to pay for it, but in the long run, it's going to cost to have certain programs. So you want to keep those things in mind when you're thinking or talking to the possibility of voting for a politician in an upcoming election based on their policies that you've heard during that election. And now you can ask, when somebody is telling you, we're going to, I want every student to have a free college education in the state of Pennsylvania, and you're sitting there listening to that, raise your hand. Okay, so we do this, how are we paying for it? And see what they say. I hope this helps. Any questions, always feel free to email me. I hope all is good with all of you. If you have any questions about your paper, please shoot me an email. You can also do so on my private email, which I've listed before, but it's timmy35352000 at yahoo.com. Hope all's well. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.